Cameron here again, and I'm going to read a second excerpt from one of my books called Roping the Rancher. It is available in print on demand on Amazon and at other online retailers. So if you want to check it out, you can type my name into such places as Amazon or even over at Ecstasy Books. Go to Kelly Cameron and there you will find it. So I read one excerpt, and this again will be a clean excerpt, so it's safe for work. So if you're listening to it, then you'll be able to listen to it without any kind of fear at all about naughty words and stuff. You'll have to buy the book to actually, get those. So I'm going to read an excerpt from chapter 2, and I'll just get started. Greg nodded and removed his cowboy hat. She perused his form from top to bottom, stopping on his hands, rugged and work-worn, and fought a shiver at the thought of those calloused hands caressing her skin. He wore a light blue button-down work shirt and a pair of blue jeans that fit him to perfection. She stared, dumbfounded by her reaction to the man. He raised one eyebrow in question, which only made her insides flutter more. Men in general didn't affect her this way. Due to her job, she kept a professional distance between the men and women she saw as clients. She also needed to have a deep emotional connection with someone to even consider a sexual relationship. But something about Greg melted her insides every time she saw him, and even though she didn't know him well, she felt a connection to him. Never mind that he'd trusted her to bind him with ropes, a gift she cherished. Yoo-hoo! Trudy waved a hand in front of her face. Kit blinked, noticing Trudy for the first time. Hi, she repeated, then cleared her throat, attempting to return to a more professional demeanor. Hey yourself, Trudy said, stepping forward. Greg agreed to come with me today. Indeed, Kit murmured, extending her hand. Nice to meet you, Greg. Your mother has told me about you. I'm sure she has. Greg shook her hand briefly, then dropped it like a hot potato. He brushed by her and walked into the office. As he passed by, she caught a whiff of his scent, a faint odor of soap and hay, an outdoorsy combination she found oddly intoxicating. Trudy followed Greg inside, and Kit closed the door behind them, then turned around only to find Greg staring at her, his gaze piercing hers. With her heart beating a mile a minute, she gestured toward the couch. Please, sit down. Greg smiled and swept his arm to the side with a slight bow. Ladies first. Kit stood straight and walked with professional confidence around the coffee table in the center of the office. Seating herself in the plush chair where she always sat, she opened her notebook and waited for mother and son to seat themselves. Trudy sat on the couch across from her. Greg plopped down beside his mother and placed his hat in his lap. I notice you didn't say she's told you a lot about me, Greg stated without preamble. Kit gestured between mother and son. Well, according to Trudy, the two of you don't talk much, which would make it difficult to tell me anything about you. And even if she did, I keep everything in confidence. Good to know. The corner of his mouth twitched, and the sexy smirk made her stomach quiver. Kit felt her cheeks heat. You two going to get it on, or should we talk? Trudy interrupted. Kit composed herself, then wagged a finger at Trudy. You asked for a session today to tell me all about your date this past weekend. You could have given me a heads up that Greg would be joining us today. I'll have to charge you extra. Trudy waved a hand. Girl, I could probably pay you in cookies and you'd still see me. Kit shrugged. Maybe, but chocolate chip cookies don't pay the mortgage, and there is such a thing as professional courtesy. Touché, Trudy conceded. I'm sorry I didn't mention it. Would you mind explaining why? Kit asked. A small snort got Kit's attention. Greg was staring at them with an amused expression on his face. What? This. Greg waggled a finger between her and Trudy. This is great. I haven't met a woman who isn't flustered by my mother's wit. Kit batted her eyelashes. I am a professional. You think I'm witty, son? Trudy placed her hand over her heart. I'll take that as a compliment. Kit nodded at Trudy. You are one of a kind. Trudy narrowed her eyes. Is that a compliment? Before Kit could answer, Greg clapped his hands together. All right, I've got a ranch to get back to, so perhaps we can get this session going. Mom, what is it you wanted to talk to me about and felt better with Kit here? Trudy glanced at her wrist. Well, would you look at the time? I need to get going. Kit frowned in confusion. What are you talking about? You just got here, and besides, it's your appointment. Greg heaved a sigh and folded his arms over his chest. Mom, you're not even wearing a watch. Trudy scratched her wrist. You're right. It must be my intuition telling me it's time to leave. She hiked her purse onto her shoulder and stood. You kids have a nice chat about me, and we will discuss it next week. Surprised, Kit gaped as Trudy hurried from the office, slamming the door behind her. She turned to Greg. What the hell just happened? Greg scratched at his head. I don't know. She told me she wanted to discuss something with me, but she felt better doing it at your office. Said she felt better with a professional present. Kit muttered under her breath. That woman will drive me nuts one day. One of Greg's eyebrows shot upward. You're talking about my mother. Kit rolled her eyes. As if you don't know your own mother. You have a point. He chuckled, lounging back into the sofa, one arm on the backrest, long legs stretched out in front of him. There were times I thought she'd be the death of me, or I'd strangle her, but like you said, she is one of a kind.